Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week, Kia unveils a trio of incoming electric arrivals so we can get them over with in one fell swoop.
We've also got a sublime birthday as the Rolls-Royce Phantom turns 100 years old.
Plus, the Toyota GR Yaris gets an American cousin.
First though, some news.
After months of threats since his election, American President Donald Trump put his planned 25% tariff on auto imports in place in early April. 1 month on since the taxation on all cars, like trucks and car parts not assembled in the US, what do the tariffs mean for manufacturers and us, consumers? Well, in short, it means that manufacturers are already in the process of raising prices in the US, with some experts predicting an average $12,000 hike to prices across the market. However, it isn't just European and Chinese manufacturers that will be affected, with the American brands like Ford and GM utilising both Canada and Mexico in several stages of their manufacturing processes. As such, even the most popular vehicles in the country, like the Ford F-150 and Chevrolet Silverado, are seeing effects of the tariffs. While on the surface only affecting the American car market, the wider effects of this increase will be plummeting sales figures for imported cars across the United States, which could well lead to scaled-back manufacturing here in the UK and around the world, according to many, and, by extension, job redundancies. Upon the tariff announcement, the Society of Motoring Manufacturers and Traders here in the UK urged both UK and US governments to strike a deal benefiting consumers on both ends and securing jobs.
Fast, fun, nimble and bespoke, the Toyota GR Yaris, in both its first and second generations, have taken over the hot hatch market here in the UK. With its bespoke architecture designed specifically with the aim of perfecting the World Rally Championship competitor that uses the same engine and chassis, this little 250 brake horsepower all-wheel drive racer for the road became an overnight success upon launch. But fitting a tight package and only getting 3 doors, it isn't exactly what we could call a practical hot hatch, which is where this comes in. Taking everything that makes the GR Yaris so good and extending it to a family-friendly size is the Toyota GR Corolla. Where the Yaris is only available here in Europe, America keeps this 5-door hot hatch with rallying pedigree all to itself, and we couldn't be more jealous. In addition to extra doors, the GR Corolla gets a slight power bump versus its bite-sized counterpart, raising its turbocharged 1.6-litre 3-cylinders output to 300 brake horsepower. Much like the Yaris, the larger model is available with either a 6-speed manual or 8-speed auto, though if you don't choose the former, you really are missing out. Sure, the paddles of an automatic transmission will shift gears faster, and sure, your sprints to 62 will go that much quicker, but at this sort of speed on a twisty road or out on track, 3 pedals and a 6-speed gate is a dreamy combination. Speaking of on-track performance, that Jack Russell of an engine is a capable beast, both providing good power and adding little weight to the car. Overall, the GR Corolla weighs just 1.3 tonnes, allowing it to reach the magical 6.0 in under 5 seconds. Distinguishing the GR from the regular Granny-mobile Corolla, aside from Larry power and rally-proven all-wheel drive setup, is a chunky body kit with wider arches, several sharp slits and vents, and if you tick the circuit pack, a carbon fibre roof. But the coolest touch of them all is this, a trio of exhaust exits, because why not?
Flexed muscles, an overwhelming voice and unnecessary amounts of jewellery, the Corolla may not be for more subtle driving enthusiasts, so how about a different sportified family car with rallying pedigree? under the bonnet. In true Subaru style, this WRX TS gets a 4-cylinder boxer engine totaling 2.4 litres and 271 brake horsepower. 6-speed manual or automatic shift options are available, as is all-wheel drive, plus a new for 2025 active suspension setup, ensuring your wheels stay on the ground at all times, and top performance regardless of road conditions. Despite a lower power figure, that means the Subaru still manages to get close to the Toyota's time to 60, reaching the mark in around 5.5 seconds. Hitting the market from $47,000, the Subaru is far from a cheap car, especially when you consider the Corolla's $40,000 price tag. Ultimately, this isn't a conundrum we have to face here in the UK, as there is just one rally car for the road, and it'll do for us.
Electrification, electrification, electrification. It's all we hear about nowadays in the automotive world, and while appearing to be the future of mobility, there's no denying it does get a little bit tiresome. So, to get it all over and done with, Kia set aside a full day at the end of February dedicated to unveiling its current fleet of EV products. During the so-called EV Day, Kia unveiled 3 headlining creations. Firstly, the PV5 is set to be the South Korean manufacturer's first all-electric commercial vehicle, looking to take on the likes of the ID. Buzz as both a people carrier and a panel van with funky styling. Secondly, and once again in concept form, the EV2 is a compact B-segment electric city car, pairing styling cues of other EV badge models with the dimensions of a Fiat 500 Challenger, perfect for the budget-conscious commuter. But the South Korean manufacturer's special electric-only event wasn't all about oddballs you won't see on the road, as arriving on UK shores later this year is the Kia EV4. A mid-sized family hatchback, this new addition to Kia's EV lineup after the 9, 6 and 3 appears to adopt all the same sharp and futuristic styling cues we're used to seeing on the other models in its range. Available as either a hatchback or with an inflated saloon posterior, the EV4 will certainly stand out. According to the manufacturer, this newest model will get a choice of 2 batteries, a base 58.3 kilowatt-hour unit and long-range 81.4, equating to 267 or a staggering 391 miles on a charge. In either case, around 200 brake horsepower will come from a single motor on the front axle. Simple styling, a cheap dual display and featureless centre console, the cabin seemingly copied over from the EV3 is perhaps not to our liking, lacking soul and personality, but it looks nothing if not practical and easy to use.
The Kia EV4 isn't expected to hit UK roads until the second half of this year, but when it does arrive, it'll have to contend with this. The Volkswagen ID.3 was one of the first all-electric family hatchbacks to go on sale back in 2019 and has since amassed quite the following, making for a tough challenge for the Kia. Visually, where the Kia is an angular wedge with design elements from 2035, the Volkswagen gets more approachable looks with round curves, a charming front end and nice large windows for a light cabin. Inside it's all very generic, with the only eye-catching element of note being the enlarged 12.9-inch touchscreen. That being said, and whilst we're yet to jump aboard the Kia, the ID.3 is a spacious model for all involved. Battery options on offer for the ID.3 are the 58 kWh Pro and 77 kWh Pro S for 266 or 347 miles of range respectively. Both get a healthy 200 brake horsepower and both get plenty of tech on the inside for a comfortable commute. As yet, there is no price for the inbound Kia EV4, but we do expect it to sit in around the same region as the ID.3's £37,000 starting price when it does reach our shores later this year.
after the break, how many cars can say they've reached a century of service?
Welcome back. Coming up, all things luxurious and over the top as we celebrate the Phantom's Obsidian Jubilee.
Last year, the top of the Volvo SUV tree saw the XC90 and its electric equivalent facelifted with slight visual touch-ups and a slew of tech upgrades. Well, now it's the turn of the 90 series mid-size cousin, as the Volvo XC60 has just been updated for the 2025 model year. Though looking from the outside, you wouldn't notice it bar this jazzy front grille incorporating the manufacturer's logo. Indeed, the XC60's midlife refresh has focused mainly on the cabin, where the previously subtle infotainment screen has been replaced by a hovering 11.2-inch tablet sporting up-to-date infotainment software. The rest of the cabin is all very much unchanged, retaining glorious Swedish interior design and plenty of fantastic materials, making for a luxurious cabin. Indeed, in recent years, with the arrival of top-of-the-range models like the EX90, Volvo has increasingly placed itself as a luxury brand, featuring ever-growing price tags. As such, where the XC60 used to sit alongside the Audi Q5 and BMW X5, it now jumps above the £50,000 mark into Range Rover Velar territory. But can it compete with the go-to fancy family SUV?
Well, from the get-go, it's worth mentioning that if you have your heart set on the rangy, you should probably go out and get it, as with its shared styling across the Volvo lineup, the XC60 doesn't quite match this level of road presence. The Velar is by far the more imposing of the two when out and about on the road. However, the same sloping roof and protruding wheel arches that contribute to that attention-grabbing demeanour also mean that the cabin lacks space, especially for the rear seats. So in fact, this isn't quite as good of a family car as the Volvo. Up front, it's a similar story to the XC60, with plenty of tech available at the touch of these dual 10-inch screens, one for your climate controls, the other for your infotainment. And a third display sits behind the steering wheel, just in case you are missing pixels. As you'd expect from a Range Rover product, the whole thing is lathered in the utmost quality leather, though now in the new age of luxury, we do appreciate the addition of cloth and suede seat upholstery. Small, nicely integrated details throughout, this is certainly the more Instagram-friendly car of the two, but when it comes to usability, the Volvo takes top honours for us. What you're looking at here is the plug-in hybrid P400e model, good for 400 brake horsepower and supreme fuel economy. For the more budget-conscious, the P250 gets a 2-litre petrol 4-pot, good for 250 bhp, while a pair of mild hybrids in the form of the P340 and P400 get, you guessed it, 340 and 400 brake respectively. Diesel mild hybrids are also available with 200 or 300 brake horsepower, though both do suffer from infamous Ingenium timing chain unreliability.
Being a Volvo, that is one thing the XC60 needn't worry about, as for years now, the Swedish manufacturer has been renowned not only for its onboard safety, but also its long engine lifespans. Both mild hybrid and plug-in hybrid is available with the Volvo, though with official claims of just 32 miles per gallon, the former may not be worth your time. Instead, we would suggest the T6 sporting 345 brake horsepower and 51 miles of EV driving. Despite only recently venturing into the upper echelon of the SUV market, the XC60 is our choice for a family wagon. But if you're buying a car for your online followers rather than yourself, the Range Rover has been and always will be your best bet. $20, $50. Even 75-year anniversaries are not uncommon in the automotive industry. But very few automobiles ever reach the glorious milestone of their Obsidian Jubilee. That's a century of uninterrupted active service. Well, first welcoming itself to driveways of the world's most extravagant stately homes in 1925, the Rolls-Royce Phantom has now finally achieved a triple-digit age. But how did the last word in luxury get this far?
It all started in early May, exactly 100 years ago, when the old Silver Ghost was to be phased out and replaced by an all-new and modernised hyper-luxurious limousine. Dubbed the new Phantom, and now referred to as the Phantom 1, this new model put the first bricks in place for what would become one of the longest-standing nameplates in automotive history. Sporting a larger engine than its predecessor and overhauled chassis dynamics, this new car became the definition of a comfortable cruiser. Visually, few original Phantoms are alike, with Rolls-Royce producing just the base chassis and engine in either Derby or its American factory in Springfield, leaving its customers to source a coach-built body themselves. From a vintage separation of the classes, with this roofless driver's compartment isolated from the comfort of a passenger life, to a more recognisable coupe design, the endless options of coach-built motoring spanned all the way up to the fourth generation of Phantom, when Rolls-Royce finally began shipping bodywork atop its chassis. Though even today, should you extract enough cash from your coffers, the world of custom styling is still your oyster. In recent years, some of the most bejewelled and bewildering automotive products have left the Rolls-Royce coach-build factory, like this Arcadia Droptail we visited last year.
Despite losing the allure and exclusivity of coach-built design, the Rolls-Royce Phantom has always remained an imposing and yet delicate model to look at, and even more so with a little Beatles touch. This is the 1964 Rolls-Royce Phantom 5, ordered from new by John Lennon. In 1967, following an accident, the star decided its original matte black paint was not enough, and so put together this psychedelic art car design that has since rendered it a pop culture icon. But it isn't the only widely renowned Rolls-Royce Phantom. This particular 1937 Phantom 3, sporting Sedanka de Ville styling, should immediately trigger cinema-goers' memories by the number plate alone. Finished in a stunning two-tone design and about as much chrome as you could bear, this icon of film played a starring role in the Bond thriller Goldfinger. And celebrating the movie's 60th anniversary last year, Rolls-Royce recycled that infamous AU1 registration plate for a special edition version of its 8th generation of Phantom. Much like the original, it got a lovely and soft coat of paint, gold touches throughout, and boasted a long list of references to the motion picture.
The Phantom 8, launched in 2017, now sits as strong as ever as the most splendid of Rolls-Royce offerings, carrying the torch it picked up from its predecessors, and somehow even after a century of sales, the formula is still very much the same. In its current iteration, the Phantom is still the same bulky yet gliding, extravagant yet understated, powerful yet tranquil model on sale. A long wheelbase allows for fantastic space for rear passengers and a comfortable front seat designed for chauffeurs. Up front lies a silky smooth 6 3/4 litre V12 engine upon which many claim a coin will balance without fault even when running. With the advent of electrification and consumers' desire for ever larger, ever taller SUVs, one may assume that the days of the Phantom formula are limited. But having survived through a century of world wars, financial crises and changing tastes and trends, we think the Phantom still has fight in it yet.
Love me, love me, love and drive me so insane. And if mostly all I feel is pain, no, I won't give up on you.
Next time on Auto Mundial, a new Morgan. But as ever with the British car maker, how new actually is it?